Hey everybody, welcome to this channel. Today we want to talk about, should you take money advice from your parents? Make sure to watch until the end, because it's one of the most amazing hacks you have ever seen. Please, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos and much more. So in the past, I've spoken small about how I think it's a variety of messed up that financial education isn't considered important enough to include in a lot of school curriculums. Money is something we use each day, and will control our finances till the day we died, yet most of us are left to figure it out on our own. Now there are several arguments for not including this education in school, and one argument that tends to come up a lot is that it is the parents' responsibility to teach life lessons to complete their life in a better way and make a better man. So ultimately they have to teach their kids about money. Now personally, I believe that there are a few holes in that explanation, and one could argue that if that was truly the case, then why do we have bad education, and why did we have home economics? Now some parents do have money-related discussions with their kids, but in speaking with people over the years about the extent of these discussions, there are a few things that I picked up. One, even though these lessons provided a foundation, the information they received from their parents was often surface level. So even though these single received information, such as rescue your money, invest, limit debt, look for bargains, they weren't always given instructions on exactly how to do this. And along with that, another issue I noticed involved the reliability of the money advice they received growing up, meaning some of the tips that they received from their parents during their early adult years wasn't always the best advice, even though their parents meant well. I remember an old coworker talking about a money mistake he made when he was younger, and I think it involved something with his credit, but I'll not at all forget he was like, "Yeah, I got myself into some financial difficulties when I was younger listening to my dad, and we all kind of just laughed it off." But even though we all laughed, it wasn't until years later that I fully understood the weight of that statement, because parents, they can only educate what they know. So if they only know the basics about controlling the money, that's pretty much the length of the money lessons that they're going to give. And if they're not good money managers, and they've been performing things invalid for the old 30 or 40 years, when they do give advice, you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, as difficult as that might be. And to be fair, many parents are not financial advisors, so they had to figure items out on their own too. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that inferior money habits tend to pass down from one generation to the next. I wanted to get an idea of some of the bad money advice people have received from their parents. So I did a little digging and found a few examples, and one example includes a person being told by their parent to buy the biggest house that they could afford even though they were single and didn't need a lot of space. Another person was told, "If you want to furnish your house quickly, just apply for financing with a furniture store. You can max out the card and then pay 0% interest." Someone was also told, "Don't bank on the internet, it's too dangerous." Another person was advised that they didn't have to worry about saving or investing until their 30s. And my personal favorite, investing is too risky, you only need a savings account. And I realize that questioning one's parents might be a touchy topic for some. They advise about everything else. So why wouldn't you take their money advice too? And I completely get that, but in all honesty, when it comes to money, it's not that simple, because ultimately these financial decisions will affect you, not them. And truthfully, it's real easy to give financial advice when you're not the one who has to deal with the consequences. So you have to consider the big picture, and doing something just because you're told to isn't always the smartest approach to managing money, and that's true regardless of who's given the advice. Now obviously, this doesn't mean that you can't talk to your parents about money, because you absolutely should, and their advice might be spot on, but at the same time it is so important that you are honest with yourself. When it comes to taking advice from your parents, you really have to take off the rose-colored glasses and ask yourself, how have they managed their money over the years? And it's so important that you don't use material possessions as a gauge, because as we all know, somebody could have a lot materially, but be terrible when it comes to managing their money, and there are often subtle clues that can help indicate whether someone is good with money. So based on their actions or maybe conversations that you overheard, you can also ask, are they a big spender with little in savings? Do they have a lot of credit card debt as a result of being big spenders? And most importantly, how would you rate their financial health? And you have to ask questions, and this is so important because questions can shed light on how much a person knows about a topic. One thing I've noticed over the years is that some people, and I'm talking about people in general, but some people like to make these blanket statements about finance. Yet they don't really have anything to back up those claims with, and oftentimes they're simply just repeating statements that they've heard other people say over and over again, and they haven't taken the time to even see if those statements are true. For example, someone might tell another person, don't get a credit card, you don't need one, it'll ruin your credit. But yet if you say to the person, well, I heard it only ruins your credit if you don't use it responsibly, do you know how to use one responsibly? They might sit there looking at you all wide-eyed, because they don't have an answer. So my point is, some people love to talk about topics that they don't know that much about. So you have to dig deep and determine whether they're qualified to give advice. It's also important that you listen, because at the end of the day, it's really all about respect, and many parents mean well and they truly believe that their money advice is sound, and again, a lot of times it probably so hears them out, even if the advice is the complete opposite of what you would have done yourself, because they might be thinking of things from an angle that you've never considered, and they might offer advice that you've never tried. But even though it's important to be respectful and listen, you should also do your research, and I stress this point regardless of who's given the advice. Whether it's your parent, friend, a coworker, because as we've already established, not all advice is good advice. It only takes a few minutes to put a question into a Google search and see what answers come up, and one benefit of researching a question is that you're able to receive in-depth information on the subject. Even if your parents are good with money, the financial advice that they give might still be very basic or general, but if you were to go in and research a topic, you could learn so much, which can help you make a more informed decision. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. We talk a lot about personal finance, so if you like videos like this, I do post every weekend and sometimes during the week. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in a few days. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and like our video to support us. And turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos. See you at the next video.